Hiking in New Zealand can be an unforgettable experience, but only if you're prepared. Don't be one of the 5 people that die every year hiking in New Zealand, or one of the 500 that are rescued, or one of the 4,000 that are injured. In this video, I will show you 20 key items I take hiking in New Zealand and why. At the end of the video, I'll show you 5 life-saving tips. G'day, I'm Brent and welcome to the channel, the place for epic outdoor escapes. I was born in New Zealand and I've been hiking some of its most challenging trails over 40 years. My recent hike there was a 10-week, 500-kilometre trek in the South Island. I've learned firsthand what it takes to stay safe in New Zealand and make the most of the incredible landscapes that it has to offer. The first item is the backpack. It needs to be fit for purpose. It needs to be able to carry all of your gear, it needs to be comfortable to wear, and it needs to have easy access to important equipment. This is the backpack I use for long distance hiking. I've had it for 3 years. It's been with me for over 3,000 or 4,000 kilometers of hiking, and it's been through a lot of rough terrain. So it's an Osprey Aether 70 Plus. So it has a 70 litre carrying capacity and an 18 kg weight capacity. This backpack is fit for purpose for me. My base weight is 11 kgs. The most food I will carry at one time is 8 days, which is equivalent to 7 kgs. The most water I take in New Zealand at one time is 1 kg, totaling 18 kgs, which is within the limits of the backpack. Carrying the items within the backpack's capacity makes it very comfortable to carry. This pack has 3 really cool access features. It has storage here in the lid, so I put my rain gear in here. Storage in the bottom where I can keep my tent, and then 2 pockets on the sides where I keep my cooking gear. Another great feature of this backpack is that it has a waterproof rain cover. It has a very strong elastic boundary, so it holds up very well in the New Zealand wind. In New Zealand, there are over 600 huts, so you don't really need a tent because you can get from one hut to another within a day's hike, generally speaking. You can buy an annual hut pass for $150. I'll put a link in the description below. However, for me, I don't like staying in huts for 2 reasons. One, they can be overcrowded, and that's increasingly so as more tourists visit New Zealand, and can be noisy, and I like a good night's sleep. The second reason I don't like to rely on huts is that when there's a sudden downpour and you've crossed a few streams, you can get stuck between a couple of streams and you can be waiting there 2 hours or 2 days. So for that reason and the other reason, I take a tent. So the tent you're looking at here is a Moondance 1-person tent. It weighs about 1.6 kgs. It's not really light, but there are some aspects about this tent I really like, particularly for New Zealand weather. So it's freestanding, very strong supports for winds, and it's a full nylon tent, so it's a 3.5 season. It has only this one door, one entrance, so it traps your body heat very, very well. The fly's not on and it's not pegged out, but it's actually quite roomy for a 1 person. The Moondance tent is very quick to assemble. That only took a few minutes. The fly simply connects by little clips, such as this one here, on each of the 4 corners. and there are only 8 pegs. Given the atrocious weather conditions in New Zealand, a high quality rain jacket is essential. This is a Kathmandu Extreme series. It's about 5 years old and it weighs about 500 grams, which is a little on the heavy side, but the benefit of that is that it's completely windproof and it's also completely waterproof. Another advantage with this jacket is that it has many pockets. So you can see one here, one on the other side, down here for your hands, and there's 2 pockets on the inside as well. So this jacket's been through hell and back, through a lot of off track. It's probably done 5,000 kilometers and no problems, no wear and tear. The next item is the rain pants. These are very useful in cold, windy, blizzard conditions. They trap your body heat from around your legs. I only ever wear these instead of trousers. Otherwise, I normally just wear shorts. The next item is a beanie. Must have in New Zealand conditions. Most of your body heat is lost through your head. So this is invaluable. This one's a really good one. It can go a long way down. Protect the ears as well. And then gloves are a must, the minus temperatures. Next is a good quality sun hat. This is a Barama. Has little holes for ventilation. The UV is very strong in New Zealand. So a hat is a must, as well as sunscreen, UV 50. So this hat actually has a really tight elastic fitting, which is great for the New Zealand winds. So hat stays on really fine. The next item is the sleeping bag. So make sure you get one that you're comfortable with and that you've tested in the coldest temperatures that you think you're likely to experience in New Zealand. I've had this for 10 years. It's down. It's rated at -6. If I get too cold, I just put more clothes on. A sleeping bag liner is very important for me, for its keeping the sleeping bag hygienic. So I don't have to wash the sleeping bag, I just wash the sleeping bag liner. Next really important item is a survival bag. I've had to use it once when I had no tent, just relied on the huts and couldn't get to the hut on time. So this you can sleep in. It is a bit noisy, as you can hear, but it's aluminium inside. So when you sleep in that, it's going to trap all of your body temperature. And when I slept in this, it was about -5, and I ended up being too hot. Next up is my cooking gear. So in the middle, you can see the very lightweight pot. It also functions as my cup, bowl, and cooking utensil. To the left of that, hiding behind there, you got the small teaspoon, and to the left of that is my gas connection, just a medium quality. You can see one cigarette lighter below that. I actually carry 2 of those, one as a backup in case the other one fails. And then below that you've got the flint and the cotton wool, which I'll explain as a tip later at the end of the video. Then I just keep a band-aid as an emergency thing for keeping food wrapped up. And then there's 3 pegs I keep for hanging up socks and other bits and pieces that I've washed. At the top to the right, you've got the tea towel. That's not for drying dishes, that's for drying myself after I have a shower once a week. And then below that is a small portion of soap, not the whole bar, it's not unnecessary to carry all that weight. The soap's used for washing myself and for washing dishes and clothes. And I never use the soap in a stream so as not to pollute it. My toiletries and medical kit, very simple, stored just in that Ziploc bag up at the top. To the right is the Cristoderm. It's an antiseptic, and it also draws out any dirt from a wound. Below that are the fingernail cutters, very important, and I'll explain that in a tip at the end of the video. You get the shaver, toothpaste and toothbrush, and the soap's also reappeared in this one. The next item is a head torch. This is lithium powered, just a cheap one, $40. That way I don't need to carry spare batteries. So you're probably wondering how I charge it up. I'll show you that in a second. I recharge all of my electronics with this Anker 20-watt solar panel. I've had this for several years. It is amazing. So it charges the head torch, the phone, a power bank if I carry it, and probably will be charging this gimbal that I'm using right now when I take it on my next hiking trip. I never used to take hiking poles, but now I'm finding them very useful for going uphill and downhill, and also to support my Achilles tendon problems. So I highly recommend that if you need them. Next two really important items, compass and a resealable bag with your maps inside, hard copy maps. So let me explain. A lot of times tracks in New Zealand will be washed out, particularly those that follow streams or where they cross streams. And in addition, if you're hiking in the high country, visibility can be very poor, and sometimes tracks are non-existent, or tracks will be destroyed by deer, and you could end up following deer tracks or goat tracks. So you need to know how to use a compass and a map before you leave. So before I leave, I determine which sections are going to be problematic, and I'll print hard copies of those maps. So to do that, I go to Topo NZ, online referencing system for maps. I'll put the link in the description below, and I just use a software tool to copy and then print that out and then put them in the resealable bag. So don't rely on your phone. If it loses power or gets damaged and you don't know how to use a map or compass and you don't know where you are, you're in trouble. I've got 3 waterproof bags, which I keep my electronics in this small one. My sleeping bag goes in the middle-sized one, and my clothes go in the larger one. So with these, you need to make sure you fold them over several times so no water gets in. And I test them regularly in the sink before I leave to go hiking to make sure they're still okay. I am looking for another type of system. I find this, when this is clipped up like this, kind of gets in the way of other gear. It's a little bit cumbersome. For clothing, I have this very high quality merino pullover. It weighs only 100 grams. I only ever wear this after I've finished hiking. So I have something warm to wear after hiking. And then same with these pants, I'll only wear these after hiking. While I'm hiking, I have 1 spare pair of socks. I'll talk more about socks later. I try to keep 1 pair spare pair dry at all times. 1 spare shirt for hiking. And then 1 good quality marmot outer layer to keep warm. Last but not least, sandals. These are very important to wear after hiking, so your feet are going to be wet a lot of the time, so you need to give them a chance to breathe. That's what these are for. My sleeping mat. Seen better days. Cheap one, but works very well. Let me explain why. It's about 1 centimetre thick, and it's got this kind of thermal insulation which traps, which keeps out the cold temperature. So I am thinking about getting a foldable sleeping mat, but the ones I've seen at this time are weighing about 450 grams compared to the 150 grams of this guy. I have had inflatable mattresses, several of them, and I've always had problems with them and ended up sleeping on hard ground. So I'll never use those again. So the beauty with this, it's completely reliable. I keep it on the outside of my pack, so even if it gets wet, I don't care, because I put this between the tent footprint and the bottom of the tent. So this never goes inside the tent. The next item I take is a tarp. So this is a Wise Owl tarp in the star-shaped configuration. So it can be configured in a variety of ways. It's quite large, it's 3 meters by 3 meters. The reason I take this tarp is that it rains a lot in New Zealand, and it's nice to have a little bit of an overhanging shelter over the entrance to the tent. That way I can cook, stand up, get dressed, unpack without being rained upon. It is heavy, it's 750 grams, so I'm downsizing to a smaller one, a lighter material, which will weigh about 300 grams. So just a couple of tips now on how to survive in New Zealand hiking. So one really useful tip is your socks. Make sure they're not worn out at the heel, like this one. So I won't be taking these hiking, they'll be going in the rubbish bin right now. Otherwise, if you wear socks like this, you're going to get blisters. Nail clippers are very important on long hikes. Long nails can wear the ends of your socks. It can also result in ingrown toenails when pressed continuously against the inside front of your boot. It's best not to take brand new boots on multi-day hikes to avoid blisters. Make sure they're broken in. For me, I do morning walks and day walks to break them in. I also insert an extra inner sole in my boots. This prevents pressure blisters on the soles of my feet. Research different ways on how to cross rivers. You can cross rivers either by yourself or with other people. At the first opportunity, practice river crossings where it is safe to do so. Before crossing a river, I tend to take off my pack first and try it without the pack. Be sure all of your bag liners are tightly folded so that water doesn't get in them. If it's been raining and the water is muddy, do not cross. You don't know what's in there. Unfortunately, you're better to wait it out. Flint and cotton wool are an essential survival tool. If your cigarette lighters run out, are lost or wet, then you can always rely on your flint to get a fire started. Alright, I'm just going to show you how to use this little flint with this basically cotton wool, sorry. It's just got some little tinder going. I'm not going to make a big fire because I'm in the backyard. Oops. So, very easy. A personal locator beacon, or PLB, is a device designed to send out a distress signal to emergency services. So this provides your exact location when you're in a remote area without cell phone coverage. Before you go to New Zealand, ensure your PLB operates on the global 406 megahertz frequency, which is used in New Zealand for distress signals. So you first need to register it with the Maritime New Zealand or update the registration if it's from another country to avoid delays in any response. Thanks for watching, and if you got value out of that video, please like and subscribe. Also hit the notification bell for new content, including my upcoming epic hike to remote New Zealand. Stay safe and live your dreams.